Despite after watching episode 2 of Undead Murder Farce and just assuming that, oh, it's gotta be the second son, it seems so obvious. After watching episode 3, I'm starting to wonder if possibly I became the victim of misdirection. Was it so obvious that the animators wanted me to think it was this character? Because with episode 3, they did a pretty good job of sort of trying to spread out the possibilities a bit, which is technically to a good detective. It's to the credit of Rendo. She's doing a good job of sort of trying to figure out all the possibilities. Check out every single person. Don't just go, well, this sign right here, obviously it's this. I'm not a good detective, obviously. I'm obviously not a good detective if I just immediately jump to the first thing and go, I don't care about what everybody else is saying. This boy put his hand in his pocket. He's obviously hiding something in his pocket that he used to hold on to the stake. But I know it could still be him. But yeah, this is my thoughts on the third episode of Undead Murder Farce. So let's see if we can try to figure this out. Honestly, I really didn't think they were going to spend a whole 3 episodes on one mystery. I really did feel like this second episode would just kind of wrap things up and we move on to the next one. But yes, we ended episode 3 with the, I guess it's going to be the catchphrase, let's put an end to this farce. But yeah, the episode opening up with everybody eating, well, the vampires drinking, and going to each individual person to sort of find out what they were doing at the time of the murder itself. And every one of them seemed pretty straightforward. Godard with his eldest son and his youngest daughter, them kind of going over management of the area until eventually parting ways with them. At which point Godard went off to go hunt, and he brought the second son with him. The eldest son took the daughter and got annoyed by her and then pretty much threw her off to the maid. The butler did some management stuff alone, which kind of puts him under the spotlight. And the eldest son went off to do his own thing, which also puts him in the spotlight. So we're sort of trying to keep an eye on each one of these characters, making sure that they have somebody with them that can sort of attest to what they said. And again, with all these murder mysteries, it's never that simple. If somebody's alone, it's never them. It's never as simple as you were alone here, so obviously you could have done it. Now, my assessment of these accounts start to bring up one big, massive red flag, but I'll put that off to the side for a minute. The eldest son doesn't make sense. I think it's too obvious. He was one of the only other ones that was alone, and plus he's being a little bit violent. I don't think that he has some sort of gain for this whole situation. He's pretty much taking after his father, the management of the land itself. It's almost as if he is the next heir to the family. The second son, the one that I originally assumed is probably the killer, because my assumption was that when he went out with the father, it seemed a little odd. He wanted to go with me so he can check out plants. Why? And when we did see him in that second episode, he was just kicking a mushroom. This kid didn't want to look at mushrooms. And additionally, the fact that he was so adamant to his father that they need to break off this allyship with the humans. The humans will never respect us. It seemed like he had a gain to destroy this peace between them. But I found it odd that Rendo never really kind of pressed him much. Instead, we got this obvious anger. We didn't do it. I didn't do it. Why would I do that? He was getting obviously angry. Just like the eldest son. One thing that Rendo gets stuck on that I did find very odd was that the eldest son pointed out, oh, you missed all 3 of those shots. And Rendo jumps on that. Specifically that he said, I heard them from deep in the forest. Sort of indicating that there is a range difference here. Where they shot from and where he heard the sounds from was off in a way. The only conclusion that I can see her coming with this is that he was able to hear it. Meaning that there's a possibility that within this mansion, you shouldn't be able to hear it, especially if it's through the walls of the mansion and deep in the forest. But I don't know if vampires in this particular world have heightened hearing. But it does kind of indicate this aspect that the eldest son heard something he shouldn't have been able to hear, meaning that there could have been some sort of impact or noise within the actual mansion itself. But why would it be 3 shots? Exactly what was shot outside. Unless knowing how many shots was fired out there, they imitated it when killing Hana because they knew they could just say, oh, well, it was those shots. Now, the one thing that did stand out to me, and I honestly don't want this to be the case because it just, I've seen this before and it's always kind of cheesy. The daughter. I don't want it to be the daughter, but I can totally see them doing that. It's the one character that everybody's like, it can't be the daughter. That's the innocent little girl. She can't even talk. It can't be her. How could she be malicious? I've seen it too much, and I really hate it every time it does it. I hope they don't do it here, and if they do it here, they actually pull it off, which I doubt because I'd never seen this kind of pulled off well. They went out of their way to sort of indicate the maid went down to the laundry and let the daughter Lotte sing. And then Rendo presses her on it, and this is where it kind of shifts everything. You were there the whole time. Well, I had to use the restroom once. There it is. That was the moment that Lotte, if she was, could have done something. Well, the maid just left to go do that. Go down there, grab the stake, go up there, do the deed, go back, staying with her again. I don't want that to be the case, but it seems like they're going out of the way to sort of show that Lotte's off to the side every single scene. Well, we were up there talking about the management of the city, and she was over here playing. And they also kind of put a lot of emphasis on her constantly playing house with the dolls, sort of indicating that she knew where everybody was at. And here's where I get my theory, and this is probably going to be a super wild theory. If this doesn't turn out, it's going to be the dumbest, craziest theory you've probably ever heard. There is a concept within a lot of stories of vampires of the idea of a thrall. This idea of a vampire that's able to control people. It's rare that it's ever a thrall over other vampires, but it could very well be in this case. What if the youngest daughter isn't actually a daughter of the family itself, but actually a very powerful vampire that is controlling this family? Not that they actively know that she's controlling them, but just that they believe that that's part of the family. She's a daughter of the family. Obviously, it's Lotte. It's the daughter. But in actuality, she's not. She's never been a part of the family. She's basically just controlling them like puppets. That's the feeling I get every single time I see her playing with that little dollhouse. Is she controlling where she wants them to go? And yeah, she could have very well set up the whole situation with everybody being where they're at. Her bugging the eldest son constantly about the fact that she wants to sing because she wanted to get away from him. But the maid showed up. Dang it. Now the maid's gonna get my way. Okay, well the maid had to go use the restroom. Perfect time. Time to go do it. There's also another side of me that believes that the maid knows. The maid knows that the daughter did it. But one, again, she's a part of the thrall, or two, she doesn't want to say anything. When she was being questioned, she briefly looked over at the family, and it kind of gave a sense that she was terrified. I can't say anything because then they'll kill me. How can a human in a room with a bunch of vampires say, yeah, I think it's the dad? She's dead. Like, she knows these people could kill her in a split second. She's not going to say anything. And yes, for also the daughter. I can't say the daughter wasn't in the room at some certain time. She'll kill me. I know her true side. Yes, I hate it, but it all kind of lines up to make sense that it could be possibly the daughter. That would explain why there was so much emphasis put on the maid, her fears, and yes, the idea that she's constantly in every room, but yet never questioned. She was questioned one time, and Rindo didn't even push her. That could either be the fact that, yes, Rindo sees this girl and doesn't want to scare her, but at the same time, it also could be that Rindo's like, yeah, I know it's you. I'm not even going to bother trying to bring it up right now. Everything's sort of piecing around you. I don't even have to say anything yet. Now, the one thing that sort of brings a big question mark is, what is all this stuff at the very end for? This is where everything sort of starts to kind of muddy up a little bit for me, is they went a little bit out of their way in order to bring in this kind of third party of the whole situation. The vampire hunters. Specifically, this guy named Hugo, which they mentioned in the last episode as well. This vampire hunter that showed up and they killed him. But he was the one that brought in the silver stake. Now, why this seems to be odd to me is the fact that this Joseph guy that shows up, that knew Hugo, wanted to get revenge. Makes sense. But specifically that they asked him, did you know that he had a silver stake? And he said, no, I didn't know that. He always kept it in a leather pouch. And that he said that he had an ally. A very powerful ally. Okay, now we've added two really interesting things here. One, who is the powerful ally? It's gotta be somebody within the mansion. That's why he was confident. I know somebody on the inside. They'll make sure that I can get in there and take action. He was being used to bring that silver there. They never had any plan for this guy to survive. But the curious thing that keeps hitting me is, why was it inside of a leather pouch? Unless he was a vampire. That would be the only reason why he would be so careful and wouldn't bring it out and show it. Because it would burn him. Possibly being controlled by Lotte, or again, could have been hired by the second son. Somebody brought him there. Somebody from in that mansion brought him there with that silver. Didn't care if he died, but following his death, they would have the tool inside there to kill whoever they wanted to kill. And again, no matter who it was, the reason being is that she was originally human, and somebody wants to break off this whole peace treaty. They want them to fight, because the humans never accept us. Why are we not killing them? Why are we not drinking their blood? Why are we here sipping animal blood when we could take their blood? Again, I do like the fact this episode does sort of broaden the perspective a little bit. Again, I'm really hoping it wasn't just simply the second son that was constantly being thrown in my face in the first episode. Either way, this episode has done really well of sort of broadening the possibilities here. Again, I just hate that it might be possibly the little girl that nobody would suspect. It's gonna happen. Rendo's gonna be like, oh, I figured it out. They're gonna like throw a bunch of couple things out. They're gonna get angry a little bit, and then suddenly Rendo's gonna go, Sugaru, point me in that direction. And he's gonna turn it to the little girl, and he's gonna go, you did it, didn't you? And then the little daughter's gonna be, you know, probably put on a little pouty face or something like that, and everybody's like, what? How dare you talk to her? She's just a poor little girl. And then Rendo's gonna say something that she can't deny, and then she's gonna go, you messed everything up. This little girl's gonna suddenly have this deep voice going, you messed everything up. I had it all planned out. Everybody, kill them. It's gonna be like that. I know it is. I just know it. But we'll see. We'll see with the fourth episode. Like I said, I wasn't really expecting this to have this mini episode per mystery. But again, they did a good job of expanding it out. None of it felt like it was just kind of a wasted time. The directing's still on point. The chemistry's still on point. The dorky comment about breaking necks and stuff. They even kind of introduced a little bit of aspect of Fushi themselves, which is, yes, technically in Japanese is like immortal. This idea of this immortal being that can regenerate really, really quickly. Not quite sure why they're bringing that up right here, but it sort of does kind of play into how they can explain to this vampire that, yes, Sugaru can kill you guys. You are vampires, you know, you do have silver that hurts you really badly, but we also have this guy right here that can handle you as well. It almost did kind of seem like a little bit of a threat, but at the same time, I do kind of feel it's a good way of sort of kind of showing that trust. This guy literally can probably kill all of you guys. We're not here to kill you. We're not your enemy. We're here to figure this out, which I think is going to be a difficult thing for the father because the father has lost family in the past. He doesn't want to lose family anymore, which again does sort of kind of make me believe that this daughter is not technically a part of this family, that she has sort of slipped in at some point. And that will make it okay for him to lose another family member because she never was a part of the family. If it ends up being the second son or the eldest son, he's going to have a difficulty in even wanting to prosecute them or even get any sort of revenge. But an outsider, that's a different story. I almost forgot, the only one that I haven't talked about was the butler, which again is another one of the people involved that was sort of isolated and could be an easy option. He did seem a little bit upset at the idea that Sugaru was out there and they were searching for something in the forest, which makes me believe that he possibly knew that this guy was coming back for revenge. Like he could have been the one that was originally involved with Hugo and possibly informed Joseph that he died. But I don't know how much of him himself is personally involved with this desire to kill them. But anyhow, that's my thoughts on episode 3 of Undead Girl Murder Farce. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below. Comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Again, if you know the source material, I don't need the answers to these questions. This is all just speculation, having fun with it. But additionally, if you're new to this channel, make sure that subscribe button so you get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, I have a Patreon link, tips link, super thanks, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate what it does. Y'all take care.